Do you think I can finish a sketchbook in 30 days while traveling to South America? I've tried this before, painting and traveling, but I failed every single time. I think I was overcomplicating myself, so this time I want to try something different. I'm only going to be taking this watercolor set, this one brush, and this sketchbook. And I know what you're thinking. That's the tiniest sketchbook I've ever seen. Of course you're going to be able to fill it up in 30 days. But the thing is, this little thing can fit 28 paintings. That's almost a painting a day. And painting small isn't actually easier than painting large. It can actually be harder sometimes. So why choose this tiny sketchbook? First of all, it's incredibly cute. Second of all, because every time I've tried painting while traveling before, I would open my sketchbook to this large blank page, stare at all that empty space, panic that I didn't have enough time to fill it, and just give up on the idea of painting. So this time, I'm trying to find out, is going smaller the only way that I'll actually paint at all? And I guess we'll see by the end of this video. This trip is different from any other I've taken. It's a very emotional one because I'm going home to Venezuela after almost a decade of being away. 9 years ago, I moved from Venezuela to Barcelona to study for my master's degree in illustration. From there, I've lived in Denmark and I now live in Croatia. In the process of building a new life and becoming comfortable and stable, I just haven't been able to go back home. So I'm so excited that I finally get to. The trip started in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, where I was having a meetup for work. We got to spend a whole week there, exploring, laughing, eating great food, and just having an amazing time. This was also the first time my coworkers saw me paint, and honestly, it was a bit nerve-wracking. It's always a bit scary to paint in front of friends or other people, but they were all so supportive, and after a little while, I stopped feeling uncomfortable. That's another issue I wanted to get over with this challenge. I want to get to a point where I'm able to just take out my sketchbook anywhere and feel comfortable enough to capture the moment wherever I am. So I painted while we waited for buses, while having coffee, while we took breaks, or just out and about. I felt so inspired because the nature in Brazil, of course, felt like my nature. I've lived all the time I've lived in Europe and I love the life I've built, but I wasn't aware of just how much I've missed my nature, my plants, my birds, my food, everything. And suddenly I was in Brazil, physically closer to home than I've been in almost a decade. This was a really lovely start to the trip and a great way to warm up for my sketchbook challenge. But before I knew it, I was on a plane, flying home after so long. When I landed, I heard people speaking around me. Not just my language, but my way of speaking, my mannerisms, my rhythm, and I just felt home. The first few days I stayed in Caracas at my aunt's house. This is the house where we used to have all of our family Christmases. I saw my colorful birds in the sky, I ate my chocolate, I drank coffee that my dad made me, hugged my mom, ate delicious food made by my aunt. Small things maybe, but after almost a decade away, these things feel so important to me. After a few days in beautiful, lush Caracas, we flew to the island where I was born, Margarita. Suddenly I was back home, in my island, my childhood bedroom, with my people, and I was even happier to be doing this challenge. Painting these moments felt even more precious. I wanted to remember the feeling of being home, a feeling I had forgotten. I wanted to paint it all, so I never forget how it feels to be home again, where I come from. I had never done plein air painting in Venezuela before, and it was such an incredible way to reconnect with the place where I was born. I felt so present, so connected to the colors around me. It was just an amazing way to capture the memories that I want to keep forever. Being back in my childhood bedroom made me remember my childhood, of course, and I started remembering really funny things, like when I was little, I was so brave, fearless, and stubborn. If anyone would say that I couldn't do something, that it was an impossible thing to do, I would very annoyingly say that impossible didn't exist in my dictionary. I've always been very determined, but I think as I grew older and moved away from the safety of my home, I started becoming more careful, more scared. I mean, you get more things to worry about, like rent, payment, survival, and somewhere in all of that, you forget about the kid you used to be. I think that's a normal thing as you grow older, but I want to reconnect with that feeling again. With that brave little girl that used to believe impossible didn't exist in her dictionary. The girl that knew that she was capable of anything she set her mind to. I learned this from my parents, and I'm so grateful I got to see it again in person. They've spent over 30 years working in their own karate school, doing the thing they loved the most, together and in their own terms. And being back, I got to watch them show up to it. Not just on the good days, on the tired days, the hard days, they showed up anyway. And watching them, I realized that that's what she needs to do, that brave little girl that lives inside of me. I want to be like my parents and consistently show up with love every day. Because every day that I get to wake up is a new opportunity to go after what I want and to feed my soul. So I painted and painted and painted and painted, and I painted because I wanted to keep the memories alive. I painted the sweet passing moments I want to remember forever. I was so happy to be home, but I also felt so sad because every night I would think that I was one day closer to having to say goodbye again. And I would wake up in the morning thinking I'm getting closer and closer to the end of this trip. I struggled with that inner battle for a few days, and I wanted to really understand why I was feeling this way. That's when I found that in Japan there's a phrase that explained how I was feeling perfectly. Mono no aware. This can't be perfectly translated, but the way I understand it is the awareness of the beauty of impermanence. It's a sensitivity to the fact that moments end, and a tenderness towards each moment because they end. It's not sadness competing against beauty, it's both of them combined, like the beauty of sadness or something like that. And I realized I wasn't living in the present moment because I was thinking about the future, worrying about how much I would be missing my home, my parents, everything. Well, I was literally there, able to hug everyone. That sad feeling was getting in the way of how beautiful it all was. Because the fact that the trip will end, the fact that in a few days I won't be able to hug my parents, that I'll be back in a different time zone, on a different continent, it makes my present even more special. In this moment, I get to enjoy all the things that I'll miss one day. So I want to be present. I want to be with my parents and my friends. I want to laugh with them, go to the beach with them, paint with them, and collect all the beautiful memories. And I think that's exactly what this sketchbook became for me. A place where every page was one of those moments I didn't want to lose. I finished the whole thing back in Croatia, but in the 30 days I had to complete my challenge. And I can't believe it, but I did it. I finished a whole sketchbook in less than a month while traveling. Honestly, it was easier than I thought it would be, and even more rewarding than I ever expected. Because of this challenge, I decided that I'm going to be carrying this tiny painting set everywhere with me. The size was perfect, the colors were more than enough, and I was always happy whenever we had to wait, because that meant I could just take out my sketchbook and paint. And carrying everything in this little tin can was also such a good call because everything was in one place and it made it so easy for me to start painting anytime I wanted. This challenge was so much more than just a way to keep my art practice alive while I traveled though. It was there with me as I finally went home after 9 years. It helped me find Mono no aware. And all these little paintings are proof of how present I was. Plus, I now have this lovely little sketchbook packed with memories that I can open anytime I'm feeling nostalgic and be magically transported to that moment. To remember that memory. Everything moves so fast and it's easy not to notice any of it. We're always thinking about the next thing, and it can be hard to pause long enough to realize that this moment is already passing. That everything changes and ends, but that's the part that makes it all so beautiful. This moment, not the future or the past. Before this trip, I spent almost 10 years surviving, worried, thinking about the future, overworking myself, and putting my deepest dreams on hold. To the point where I don't even have a clue where those years went. Something had to change, and in this video, I share with you how I finally got out of my own way.